at him through the windows as their parents looked on in horror. He would have expected the cops to have shown up already. But now you act like you were born on one of these things.
I have a better sense of balance in 3 dimensions now, Jia replied. No, I always did, but I didn't trust myself. Now I do. A lot of training, lessons, and getting shot helped. Confidence does wonders.
Erik chewed on that comment for a moment. Confidence lets you pull those kinds of flight stunts?
Sure does,
Jia responded cheerfully. Erik might have harbored a few remaining doubts if she'd just been talking about her ship training, had he not witnessed Jia's natural talent with an exoskeleton. She was a piloting prodigy who hadn't been living up to her potential, and it came out every time she applied herself to a vehicle with aerial capacity. Their assignments could turn violent and mobile in an instant. Every additional capability helped. The terrorist mini-flitter pack slowed, giving Erik and Jia precious seconds to catch up before the killers shifted into a tight V formation, nobody bothering to fire at their 2 pursuers. As a group, they flew toward a narrow gap between 2 towers. It turned out to be too narrow. Some men on the edge didn't make it. Erik whistled, impressed as their mini-flitters slammed into the building's exterior and broke into clouds of debris, launching their riders on their final trip to meet their maker. The terrorists' bodies bounced off the buildings, but they were outside the grav fences. There was nothing to save them. They dropped to the ground, flailing as if that would protect them from their coming doom. The remaining terrorists didn't even look back, which helped to save them from the same fate. Those guys could use a few lessons from you, Erik joked.
Did one of them have the bomb?
Jia asked, the levity gone from her voice.
It might not take out a tower, but that doesn't mean it couldn't hurt someone if it exploded on the way down.
Shit, Erik replied. I'm not sure. They were in Lagos at Alina's request. Her instructions for the assignment had been simple. Erik and Jia were to go to the metro and investigate alleged terrorist activity there, with a focus on observation and intelligence gathering rather than elimination. The intelligence directorate was interested in this particular batch of terrorists rather than kicking them over to the criminal investigations directorate, because the terrorists had received some unusual off-world funding. Erik and Jia didn't mind. Taking down terrorists in between hunting vast conspiracies was a nice way to train. Alina had said it'd be easy compared to assignments she'd sent them on before. Then, their simple intel gathering and observation job had turned into Erik and Jia screaming through the towers of Lagos after terrorists with a bomb. The only thing Erik didn't get was what the bastards planned to blow up. They could have killed more people just by hitting a commerce level with guns. There was something he and Jia were missing. They'd have to ask the terrorists. Well, assuming any survived.
The bomb remains secure,
Emma reported. One of the terrorists' highlights turned bright green.
The man in the front has the bomb in his carry aid. I must warn you, though, they're almost out of range of most of my drones, as are you. You're all going too fast, and it's not like I can hack every drone in Lagos.
Jia entered the narrow gap smoothly, accelerating and gaining on the terrorists. Erik slowed as he followed, but he didn't come close to either building. A terrorist finally went for a gun, but his lack of control cost him as his mini-flitter drifted to the side. At that speed, a second was enough to make a deadly mistake. He collided with another man's vehicle. Both vehicles bounced hard away from each other, one scraping the building and shedding pieces before falling, the thrusters and gravimeters dead. The other terrorist smashed into the back of an ally's mini-flitter. The vehicle clipped the bottom of a sky bridge, taking the terrorist's head with it. The other man righted his vehicle in time to smack into a tower. His piercing scream echoed in the metal canyon. There were far too many losses without taking a shot at their enemies. Erik frowned in disappointment. The predators and prey escaped their narrow flight space, exiting among a new batch of towers, then passing into a new tower canyon. Having learned their lesson from the sacrifice of their comrade, the terrorists didn't go for their guns. They concentrated on dodging the huge number of sky bridges stretching between 2 of the buildings. One man didn't make it, and his mini-flitter bounced off the top of the sky bridge. The grav fence left the structure barely touched, but the sparking gravimeters on the bottom of the terrorist's vehicle didn't speak well for his future. He made it only a few more meters before his vehicle plummeted.
Idiots,
Jia muttered.
I'm almost insulted by how terrible they are at this. They should have just run away, not led us on this ridiculous chase and lost people without us firing a shot. Don't they have any pride in the organization?
Erik laughed. Now that you're the pilot queen...